We called you today because we felt that it's very important that the people of Rwanda, people that actually call us, people that want to get more information, will hear what's going on in Israel, will understand what all of us as Israelis in Israel and here around the world, what we're going through. What started as a regular day on Saturday, October 7, people were in their beds, in their homes, sleeping, waking up, 6 a.m. in the morning. It's Saturday. It's the holy day in Israel. It was the end of one of our holidays. Very serene, very quiet. And people woke up maybe to the last breath. People woke up in Israel to a nightmare. We had an operation from the murderous, vicious, inhumane organization Hamas, penetrating through the border of Israel into all the villages that surrounds basically the border, and attacked kids, mothers, babies, elderlies in their homes. They also attacked a party or a celebration, peace celebration, that was attended by youth from all over the world that came there only to celebrate peace and hope and faith. And they were murdered in the most brutal way. They were murdered by being burned, raped, slaughtered in front of their families. Sometimes cruelly, they left a family member to witness these executions. And basically, what started as a regular day was a day that dragged us, not by choice, forcefully into a state of war. Israel, and by that I'm saying no other country in the world, would accept this attack on its civilians. And at the moment, what we know of is that more than 1,200 people were killed, amongst them kids, babies, women, men, non-soldiers and soldiers that came to and tried to protect these people. We know that we have more than 100 people that were taken hostage, but the numbers still on the fourth day are not final numbers, because bodies are being discovered, because families still don't know exactly the abouts of their family members. I do know for a fact that we have whole families that were wiped off, that were killed. 5 members, 6 members. We know that we have members, including a volunteer of Mashav program that came to volunteer here in Rwanda to do a project, a seeds project, to better the lives of the people of Rwanda by completely volunteering. She and another 8 of her family were kidnapped, as far as we know, were kidnapped into Gaza. Can you imagine the feeling of having most of your family, cousins, grandparents, your grandsons, either killed, slaughtered, or taken into Gaza? It's important to me to say that this is not like something I think that the world has witnessed besides maybe ISIS attacks. We are dealing with Hamas, which operates like Daesh, like ISIS. You talk about Hamas, you talk about ISIS. The things the eyes and the heart saw and felt in these days are not something that is taken from a regular round of violence. And believe me, Israel, unfortunately, is very experienced with round of violences. This is not the same. This is a war that was started by Hamas on just another day. I do want to take this opportunity, and obviously I will take your question and answer, and I want to leave you the time to ask it. Before I go into another thoughts of mine, I also wanted to say that during these 4 days, we received a lot of support from the government of Rwanda, and a lot of support from the people of Rwanda. We received thousands of messages from people who came out explicitly and said that, they support Israel. Some of them went through trauma themselves, their families, their parents, and they just want to say how much they feel for Israel. I want to say that we really appreciate it. You have to understand that in Israel, the moral, the spirit is aching. And having this support from Rwanda as well, and from all over the world, that we've had thousands of more than hundreds of thousands of messages of support. We had dozens of governments that came out with explicit support of Israel, of the right of Israel to defend itself. We had tens of buildings that were lit with Israeli flag, from opera houses, obviously parliaments, presidential residencies. We had iconic symbols like the Eiffel that were lit with Israel flag. This is very meaningful. So, and again, to say also that we express the gratitude here in Rwanda. And again, I don't want to take all of the time, but I do want to tell you that we are just entering. With wars, where they start, you don't know where they end. We're entering, I would say, a war on not only the security of Israel, a war on the security of the world. Because if it can happen in Israel, believe me, it can happen everywhere. Terrorists do not discriminate. Terrorists have one goal in their eyes and in their minds, like Hamas. The only goal, their raison d'etre, is to eliminate the Jewish state, to kill as many Israelis and Jews. But as they showed us, they do not discriminate. They killed also people from Thailand, from Germany, from the US, from Africa. We have people that we know are missing from few of countries here in Africa. They do not discriminate. Terror does not discriminate. Terror wants to rise its head wherever it can. So what I'm saying is that the world has to unite against terror. The world has to voice itself against terror. The world has to speak up against terror. Israel needs the support and the continuous support in order to eliminate terror from its borders. I want to tell you that I have answers, but I don't have answers. And I think, and again, as you know, when you're in a battleground, when you're at war, first, before you start investigating, looking into the reasons and the occurrence and why, first thing, you fight. First thing, you struggle. First thing, you protect your borders again. First thing, you make sure that all citizens in this area are protected, that the area is clear. First thing, you go for your goals. In that case, you go for Hamas, the organization, their heads. First, you achieve the goals, and when calm comes back, you start to investigate. Unfortunately, it's not the first time in Israel that we had wars, and I have to say that every time, and this is part of being true to yourself, candid with yourself, and making yourself better, is to investigate yourself. I believe this time, probably, I'm not the government, once things settle down, we'll try to understand what happened. I can tell you, though, that, it's sometimes after you have a very long period of intense security concerns, like around Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and even the beginning of Sukkot, you have more concentration. And I think at this stage, it was the end of the holiday in Shabbat. Maybe the spirits were very happy, and, sometimes it happens that, there's a little bit less tension. It doesn't mean that something like that can happen. It can be a combination of many things. And there is one thing I want to tell you, though. The hands of Iran is all over this operation. the hands of a regime that explicitly, I'm talking about a government, a country, a sovereign country, that explicitly calls to eliminate and destroy another member country of the UN, and the world, by the way, accepts it, is Iran. And Iran's hands and money and the Ayatollah regime, the hands and the fingerprints are all over this. So we need to be accountable for ourselves. But I believe Iran needs to hold accountability with all the world and the UN for what they did. And the fact that they still continue, even now, to send more assistance to Hamas, to Hezbollah in the north. By the way, there's another front we have. This is something we need to look at. And if what we have to take into consideration, what we have to change, what we have to prevent for next time, it's one thing. But it's very difficult to deal with organizations that are being sponsored for years by a state, and that for years use all the money that they get not to build infrastructure, but to have better weapons. Israel will do and can do and has the ability to defend itself. That is what we've been trained for all those years of self-defense. I do not know what the estimation about the region. I can tell you and quote from our friend Joe Biden, the great president of the United States, who came out with a very breathtaking speech yesterday, speech of pure support to Israel. And what he said to all of those who think they can take the advantage of the situation, I have only one word to say: don't. So that's what I want to say to all of these who want to take the advantage of the situation. So let me start by the second question. So yes, my husband was drafted himself and went to take part in the fighting. If you want to understand the spirit of Israel and the Israelis, you can look all around the world. Thousands of people from all over the world, whatever they did, work, vacation, visiting family, they stopped everything and they went back home in the way that they couldn't find enough flights to send them home. So the IDF sent special flights, including this noon, to Cyprus and to Greece to pick up Israelis. There were more flights from Latin America, from Asia, from New York, of hundreds of people that come back to take part of this. This is Israel in the essence of Israel, and I think I find it here in Rwanda as well. It's brotherhood, it's spirit, it's believing in your country, it's patriotism, it's believing in the goal of your own existence. It's coming back when the time is hard. No one will take our spirits away. They can take our souls, they can take our friends, they can take family members. They will not break us down. They will not succeed in what they want. That's what they want. They want to take our souls. They kill our family members. They take people hostage, kids, babies, families, because they want to break us. But they won't break us. We believe in the reason, we believe. And again, quoting Biden and Golda Meir, our secret weapon is that we have no other place to go. There is only one Jewish state, and they will not take our spirit, they will not take our countries. So if you want to know, you can see half a kilometer of people standing in line to donate blood. You see people cooking food, sending food to it's amazing to see it. And I think in these bleak and dark days, this is what gives people the power to continue. So this is about the spirits, about tourism, tourists and foreigners at large. Because as you know, we also have foreign workers that were taken hostage. We have casualties among many nationalities. I can tell you, after having many conversations with Jerusalem, The consular department of the Israeli Foreign Ministry they have not slept for days. They're in touch with all embassies. They're in touch with all ambassadors. They continue asking they have lists of people. They concentrate efforts about finding people, about giving solution, helping with flights out, and bear in mind that it's a war situation. And sometimes you don't have answers, but they do whatever they can. There is every ambassador, foreign mission in Israel is being given full attention. If there are tourists at risk, if there is a problem, they are being answered with full empathy. Even though themselves, their families are at risk, they do not sleep in order to make sure that every foreigner an embassy has the answers. About the fact that Hamas doesn't discriminate and continues shooting missiles to Jerusalem, by the way, towards holy sites, almost hitting holy sites. That's another thing we have to deal with. I cannot understand how this organization, or whatever they are, send missiles towards their own holy sites, the Juda-Christian Holy sites. They do not care, so they don't mind what they do. But I can promise you that everyone is being taken care of. And I can promise you that once the situation calms down, we will have tourists coming again. And I mean, we cannot give them the satisfaction of stopping people from coming to see the Holy Land. And this is again a message that I want to give here and people in the world. We cannot, that's why we continue working and we continue doing our things. We cannot give them the benefit of stopping lives and stopping reality and stopping people from coming and visiting. About the flight, so the flight was launched in 2019, but during the COVID, it was unluckily that it was very close to the COVID era, and because many other factors, this line or this Tel Aviv-Kigali line is not operating now. My goal, obviously, is to resurrect this line again, reopen it. I don't know if it's necessarily the time to do it, but hopefully in the next years to come, couple of years, we'll see it reopening. I believe again, because many reasons, the Christian Judeo connection, the business people that want to come here and do businesses. Because of many reasons, I believe it's a very good line, and we should reopen it. But right now, in vis-a-vis the situation, vis-a-vis the war, it doesn't. It's not open. I can tell you that my partner went through Addis. I wish he had a direct flight, but that's for another conversation. Rwandans, I mean, ongoing, almost daily contact with the Rwandan ambassador in Israel, Ambassador James Gatera, who is doing a fantastic job in ensuring that Rwanda and Israel are safe and sound. We've had at least around, 250 Rwandan students who came to the study working program of Mashav, that they came to work in fields and kibbutzim. Unfortunately, we did have few of them that were in the southern part of Israel, so near the kibbutzim. It's west, close to Gaza. And obviously we kept in touch with the headquarters, with the ambassador. If I can say, happy to say that all of them, as far as we know, are safe. The situation, they're safe, they're out, they're alive. So we don't know at the moment, and I believe it will continue because probably we would have heard of Rwandan in risk or harmed. I don't know the number of tourists we had in addition to the official number of the students, but again, from the information I have, we haven't had a Rwandan that was either injured, kidnapped, or murdered. Israel has, it's not I believe, I know, one of the mightiest, strongest armies in the world, with the highest equipment and tools. And I believe that if there is a need, it's A, ongoing collaborations, and B, the highest ranks in Israel, they know how to contact their counterparts. I can tell you that the U.S. has already moved some vessels to the Eastern Mediterranean, so they shifted them from other areas close to the Israeli coasts. I can tell you that the European Union, that has been very vocal from day one, from the first hour, about supporting Israel, also explicitly said that they are willing to assist Israel whatever it takes. I don't know what will be needed. I have the utmost belief and in Israeli defense force. I don't know what next stage will be. I can only hope that the goals will be achieved fast with the minimum amount of casualties. And I am a great believer in our own army. So, unfortunately, the Israeli community here is very small. That's the reality. It's a small, very warm but very small community. Most of it is elderly. I have no idea. I know tourists for sure. Tourists that were here and in Uganda. I know many times they take a few months to go to Uganda, Rwanda. I know at least one Israeli that is here, that her husband went back home. Yeah, for sure. They just came from Uganda to Rwanda, and then they just started the trip and he went home. I know that there is a lot of interest from Israel to assist those who want to come home. I don't have the numbers. I think even if we have, it's tourists that are coming here and they went home, but tourists, it's very hard to monitor because they are vagabond. They move fast between countries. From the small Israeli communities here, as far as I know, is the only one, unless someone wants to correct me. Bear in mind that a lot of this community, like guys here, they have official jobs here, and we need them also. This is also a front line in a way. Embassies are front line. Protection of our people here is a front line. So that's another thing to take into account. I don't have the numbers though. This is not, for sure, not another round. This is not another round of violence that we've had in the last 2 decades. This is a war. And in war, gloves are off. So whatever it takes to make this organization non-functioning, and of course, if we can eliminate it altogether, it's the pure evil. This is what I don't think we understood. We knew they were terrorists. We did not understand that we're dealing with non-people, with monsters. I don't believe Israel can afford itself to live side by side with organization, and we will do whatever it takes to take it off. I don't know to what scale, and again, wars, I'm not a marshal of war. I know that the government is very serious. I know the people of Israel are ached and angry, and they're grieving, and they are going from funeral to funeral, more than 1,200 people. I know the whole society, and I just put on X, on Twitter, the statistics that 1,200 people in Israel, people don't understand that Israel is tiny. Everyone knows everyone. And the scale is like losing 35,000 people in the US. So it's like if you take the scale of Israel and the numbers that were lost, the people that were killed, is unbelievable amount of numbers. So if you ask me, the government is very serious. And that's why we didn't call it an operation. This is why we're not calling it another cycle of fight. This is a war that was declared by Hamas. So if they want to war, we go to war. And if they want to destroy us, we destroy them. But, and it's very important, and I keep reiterating, we are not at war with the Gazan people. Unlike Hamas, who wants to kill us, we do not want to kill innocent people. We are at war with Hamas, with the leadership that took over the Strip of Gaza when Israel did its best to promote peace by pulling totally from Gaza Strip, not leaving in one Israeli stone there, giving it back to the Palestinians and receiving Hamas in return. This is the consequences. This is what we have to deal on a daily basis. Now it's 15 years of terror on our border. So this is enough. This is enough. I don't believe any other country would tolerate this. I know even here in Rwanda, you have your own situation. And I know that dealing with something so imminent is something that no one can afford itself. We have to defend our people. We have to defend our borders. So this is one question. Two, which I can't remember. Oh, images. I believe this is the most social media'd war that we've ever had. I mean, the images in social media are, I don't know, it's nightmares. I have no other words for it. It's images that are not from this world. You see it in horror movies. You don't even see it in horror movies. And so, and some of them posted by Hamas themselves. And the things that we as Israelis and Jews have not seen since the Holocaust. Not since the Holocaust did an Israeli or Jewish family had to hide for its life. Kids had to run to the closet. Images of kids that were tortured in front of their families. Homes that were burned down to the ground with the people inside. No, we did not see this since the Holocaust. So the images are so bad. I can tell you that the government of Israel has decided, after a lot of thinking, because we want to respect the dead and respect the living, what to do with that. And diplomats tend to be tender. I don't know if you know it. We tend to go around. Not this time. We released if we didn't receive it, I'm happy. I'm not happy. I can send you the images that were released by the government of Israel and after a lot of thinking about it. Because things are things and things are out. And there is no way in this time around to go around it. This is what it is. And the world needs to understand what we're dealing with. So the images are out also by the government, also in the official social media tools of the government. Also we have it, Sam and Yossi. And if any of you have not received it yet, if you want to see what the official State of Israel has released and published, it's already online, but we can send it to you as well. So I want to, again, separate. It is catastrophic, okay? It is catastrophic. When you see these images, I think every soul around the world, obviously, in Israel, you cannot stay even-minded about it or just neutral about it. It's catastrophic. When everyone in Israel knows someone, it cannot be but catastrophic. And when you see the size of the land that was affected and burned, and it cannot be. We're a small country. Think about a tiny country that goes through something like that, and obviously it will be traumatic. But this is the second part. Not catastrophic enough to take us to our knees. Not catastrophic enough to stop us from continuing living. Not catastrophic enough to keeping people from waking up in the morning, from government to function, from soldiers to go out and fight. Not catastrophic enough to break our spirits. So it's very important to say it, because what the enemy wants everywhere, every time terror organization strikes, every time the enemy operates, the first thing they want to do is take your body and your life, and the second thing of the survival is to take their soul. And this one we cannot allow ourselves. So we wake up, we keep talking about it here, even in the embassy, what we can do to continue with our lives, what we can do to look ahead, what we can do every morning, because we have kids and family, and Israel continues to strive. And Israel, Am Israel Chai, this is what we believe in, it will continue to live. So that's the second part. Let me say it like that. First, we received a note verbal from the foreign minister and the foreign ministry expressing a very warm support. So absolutely we received condemnation to terror and support in Israel. Yes, I talked with many of formal officials here, and yes, they expressed their sympathy with us. I have not spoken directly to the president. I don't think it's something that happens lightly, because my counterpart obviously is the foreign ministry as a diplomat here. When I say I received, I'm also saying that we have many conversations here, my team and myself, with officials. And every conversation I have with official, there is anger and rage and on what happened, and full support. So yes, from first day we received it, and obviously as an ambassador here, and that's I keep saying I will do my job wrong if I wouldn't ask always to get more, because that's what my job is, to get more, to see more, to hear more. But I have the utmost support to this government and your president and your foreign minister, and hearing the voice also is always good. My feeling is that we will have in the next few days more opportunities when we'll probably approach the government, and I'm absolutely sure that we will continue to receive their support. So that is on that note. On other note, it's myself, my predecessor, Ambassador Dr. Ron Adam, we received, I think, thousands of messages of support. And it's not about supporting Israel. I think it's about supporting the fight against terror, and Israel, of course. But people are so disturbed. This is what we get, disturbed. But what happened, that they realized it can happen everywhere. If it happened in Israel, in the great Israel, great country of Israel, it can happen everywhere. So I think what you receive is also the sentiment that people are disturbed, that it's time to raise up to fight terror everywhere in Africa, everywhere in Europe, and everywhere in North America and other parts of the world. No, just again to say, it's even that you come showing up in such a short notice, it's a sign of your professionalism, obviously, but also a sign of your understanding of the situation and the support we receive here, and it's highly appreciated. Thank you very much for coming.